Okay, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome, y'all. Welcome to the Robin's Nest Live. Today is Monday, and on Mondays, if we're not warming up, we're answering questions. So today's your day. It is Ask a Music Coach Day at the Robin's Nest. So I'm taking all y'all's questions today on the subjects of vocals, songwriting, and ear training. So give me all your questions. Let me know what y'all want to talk about today. What do y'all want to address on this fine snow day on the East Coast? If you're on the East Coast, welcome. Or not welcome, but happy snow day to you. I don't know if it's like the whole East Coast or if it's just the Northeast, but we are in a blizzard. Hello there. Hi. Jay Nilly, what's going on? We are in a blizzard in New York. And I don't know if it's the whole East Coast, like I said, but we are definitely, we're definitely dealing with a lot of snow today. So if you are snowed in as well, you know, we don't gotta be snowed in alone. You know what I'm saying? At least not for the next 45 minutes or so. So yeah, throw me your questions. And just in case this is your first time hanging out with me, my name is Ashley Robin. I am a singer, songwriter, producer. I am also a musicianship coach. And that last part means that whatever makes you fully the music creator you desire to be, whether that's vocals, songwriting, ear training, or production, I can help you in all four of those areas. I am your girl. I've got 2 degrees in music performance. That's a bachelor's in classical performance and a master's in jazz. I have been singing seriously, studying music, and, just deep diving in for about 18 years now, and I have been teaching other people either about music or how to make music in different contexts, like for colleges, organizations, and of course on a one-to-one basis for about 13 years now. I'm a signed artist. I'm a sync artist as well. I've sung backgrounds for live television broadcasts and really cool spaces like the Apollo Theater in New York City. Well, that one wasn't on TV, but I have been on backgrounds for live television broadcasts. I get called for studio sessions. I get called to arrange vocals. I get called to run rehearsals. I get called to do all sorts of things that fill my life with music. That makes me very, very happy. I've had the pleasure of coaching folks that work with people like Lana Del Rey, Burna Boy, and Pharrell Williams. And every time you tune into the Robin's Nest Live, I am your coach too. Would you look at that? So the Robin's Nest Live is all about creating a safe space for artists and musicians like yourselves who are serious about succeeding and growing in the craft. And the Robin's Nest Live is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Mondays, we do vocal warm-ups that promote our vocal health, or we do Q&A. Wednesdays, we do ear training, and Fridays, we do vocal warm-ups, but our focus is more on vocal agility. So we already have a question. Let's see. Okay, by the way, with Kenny, hi. I've never sung before. Would you recommend hiring a coach from jump, or are there things you would do instead to prepare? This is a great question. So if you've never sung before, and do you mean never? Do you literally mean never, or do you mean like you just don't, like you've never had formal training before, etc., etc.? Let me know. Just clarify that for me. Right? Because I find it, I feel like it can't be that you've never sung, but is it that you've never performed or you never sang in front of people? Just let me know. But if you're starting fresh, I would say absolutely you should get a coach. If you start with a coach, what you're doing is you're setting yourself up to have a smooth transition into being the kind of singer you desire to be. You are cutting back on the time it's going to take you to get where you'd like to go. You are also avoiding injury. You're avoiding, doing things the incorrect way. And when you're new, there are lots of things that you can get wrong that generally will affect your voice down the road in a negative way. And so you don't want to do that. You want to avoid that as much as possible. So just the same way as like somebody who's, I don't know, maybe they're going to the gym for the first time and they're just starting to use weights and all that sort of stuff. You're gonna wanna tap in with some kind of personal trainer, at the very least, someone who can show you the proper technique to hold the weights and do all the things so that you don't hurt yourself. So the same thing is true when you are getting into singing as well. If you've never sung before, and thank you for clarifying, Kenny, you said you sang as a child, you led a choir, but then when your voice, when my voice dropped, so did my skill set. That's funny. So it seems like you just didn't have someone to guide you through that new phase of your voice. So yeah, absolutely. I would say if you're getting started, definitely find you a coach. I'm a coach, but there are so many great coaches out there. Find a coach that meshes well with you, that meshes well with your style. I'm able to coach folks in R&B, gospel, contemporary Christian, jazz. So I do have a certain pop. I do have a certain set of genres that I work with most of the time, but generally vocal technique, I can help you with that just so that you're making sound in a healthy way. But like I said, so many great coaches out there. But yeah, I highly recommend getting a coach. If you're starting out, get a coach so you don't pull those vocal muscles. All right, cool. Check in Instagram. All right, let me know how to connect with your institute as a music coach for guitar. I feel like you asked me this before, Autar. I see. I think I see what you're saying now. Okay, send me a DM. Send me a DM because this is not the sort of thing I would answer on live. So send me a DM, okay? Let's see. Gotta be just in the, yeah. Raleigh, you ain't got no snow. Well, be grateful. Be grateful. Young, okay, you would like advice on becoming a sync artist. Well, I'm a very, very fresh new one. Very fresh. However, I highly recommend getting into sync communities. Sync communities are great ways to jump in, to understand how sync music is created, what they're looking for in sync, you know, for movies, television. And for those of you who don't know what sync music is music that is set to commercials, movies, TV shows, etc. So when you're watching a TV show and somebody's song comes on, that is called a sync. That's called like a how do I say it? Essentially, whoever song that is that you're hearing on the television has a sync deal with a production company, right? And so this is how they find music for songs. I'm sorry, what? This is how they find music for shows and movies, etc., commercials, all that sort of stuff. So I think the best way to learn how it works and the ins and outs and the stuff that they're looking for is to join a sync community, 1000%. XJ Will, I believe, is the first person that comes to mind for me, but Daraj also has one too. So if you look up those folks and see how to tap into their communities, I think that would be the best place to start. Because again, I'm very fresh. I don't know everything, but I am happy to say that is the kind of work that I've begun doing. So, okay. Yeah, you got to come on Wednesday. Absolutely. We do ear training on Wednesday. It's a lot of fun. Okay. Who has had the finest voice? The finest voice? Oh, the finest voice I've ever heard. Wow, that's such a question. Who has the best? Okay, Donny Hathaway. Donny Hathaway. That I can say with all my heart. I can stand 10 toes down on that. Donny Hathaway has my favorite voice. Now, is it the finest voice I've ever heard? I feel like that's a very specific question. But if I could just answer the question like, who do I think has the most beautiful voice or the most fine voice? Donny Hathaway. And all voices like it. It is like warm cocoa. Donny Hathaway's voice is so beautiful. It is so beautiful. So smooth. And I'll never get tired of listening to it. I will never get tired of listening to Donny Hathaway's voice. So that would be my answer to that. All right. Let's see. Absolutely. I'm happy to. I'll be looking forward to seeing you back, Jamila. Absolutely. Any other questions, y'all? Let me check YouTube. Okay, no questions on YouTube yet. Did y'all see Brandy's national anthem? Did you see it? Did you hear it? Did you witness Brandy's national anthem last week? It went viral. Now, in its virality at first, I was seeing a lot of commentary that I just thought was, and I want to say this in the kindest way. I thought that a lot of the commentary I was seeing on Brandy's national anthem at first was absolute. I'll just put it this way: it was wrong. It was absolutely wrong. And that might be I just caught the people who had something negative to say before I found all the positive reviews. But I know for a fact that people were saying essentially that, like, oh, y'all put so much pressure on Brandy that she doesn't even sing with her full voice. Like, she's scared to sing, and y'all all got her scared to sing, right? And just saying a whole bunch of, like, oh, she won't sing the song. Oh, she has to do all these harmonies. She has to do all this stuff just to sing. And I'm like, look, and I have to take it with a grain of salt, because the way that social media is these days, it's just the nature of social media, is that, everybody, we just share our opinions. We share our opinions on everything. Whether or not we are, experienced in the subject matter, we share our opinion. And then the opinion catches fire and all that sort of stuff. So I thought that take on it was incorrect. Cool. Somnia, you saw it too. I thought that take was incorrect, because what we have to understand and what we have to remember is that Brandy is a brand. Brandy is a brand. And I think one of the best things she could have did is exactly what she did. She took a song that has been sung by many people thousands of times in 1,000 different ways. And instead of standing there and doing what was expected of her to a certain degree, because I see you're saying, Ash, that you didn't expect anything less from her, but it's like people expect the same national anthem. I thought it was absolutely brilliant of her to do it in her brand. I thought that was so, like, of course. Of course. And of course we have to give props to June's Diary, because the way that they locked in and were able to blend so seamlessly with Brandy in such a way, it almost sounded like Brandy was standing there singing by herself with a recording on, like with stems coming through the sound system. That's how locked in and blended and just like attentive to the nuance of Brandy's voice that June's Diary had to be in order to accomplish and achieve what they did in that basketball court. So it's like Brandy's gonna Brandy, and dang right, Brandy should Brandy for the rest of her life, because this is a brand that she built. This is a sound that she built. I mean, of course, I know that there were other, there were producers involved and mentors and things like that came up that helped bring her up. But what I'm saying is, that's Brandy. So why would Brandy not Brandy? If you have a way of doing things that's so recognizable, so iconic, why wouldn't you do that? And why would anybody expect her not to do that? So that was my thing. I'm like, y'all can't be serious. with the negative commentary that I heard about her national anthem. I'm like, y'all can't be serious. You can't be serious. You can't be. It very much fit how she sings and stacks her vocals and harmonies. Exactly. You can't call her the I mean, to be fair, I've heard that, Brandy is like, she feels honored by that title, but at the same time, she doesn't necessarily like embrace it and like big herself up as a vocal Bible, which is, that makes sense to me. you know, I would understand why she would want to be humble. And wait, hold on a second. I just noticed something. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So I understand why she probably would not, you know, jump on that and you know, call herself that and whatever have you. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This is what she does. Brandy's gonna Brandy. Brandy is gonna Brandy, and that's exactly what she did. And I don't get it. I don't get anybody who had something negative to say about that. Because not only did she do what she does, but she did it flawlessly. I can't find anything in her vocal production, like literally the way that she produced her voice, the arrangement. It wasn't too much. It wasn't a whole bunch of riffing and running. It was just arranged. It was arranged well. Like it was. I know that we're humans, and humans are not perfect, but that arrangement was perfect, in my opinion. I don't find anything wrong with that. I like the concept, but you just feel like the melody got lost a little bit too much. Sure, okay, you might feel that way, but it's the national anthem. It's like we know the national anthem, so it's like a perfect opportunity to reharmonize it and just make it a bit different. But I can understand why you would feel that way. I can understand why you would feel that way. Yeah. But, you know, if it was a brand new song that nobody knew, that's one thing. But, you know, everybody knows the national anthem, you know. I also saw her make a comment saying she can't sing her own range anymore. No. I mean, I think what Brandy was saying in that, because I think I know what you were talking about. I think Brandy was saying that the range that she sang in on Full Moon was higher than what she would normally do. She was joking that it was because her daughter was in her womb at the time. Which is very cute. But I do think that Brandy has always been like an alto. Not to say that she doesn't have the upper range, but she does. She's been our alto, I think, pretty much the whole time, you know. And so for her to say like that certain songs are not in her range, right? It's just like there's just certain parts of your voice you don't live in all the time. Doesn't mean you can't hit it. Doesn't mean you can't hit it. Doesn't mean that you know, you would sound bad singing in that part of your voice, but there's just parts of your voice that you're not comfortable in. And not every singer has to sing everywhere. We don't have to sing everything. You know, like just because, for instance, just because I can sing like Toni Braxton doesn't mean I'm going to spend any large amount of time doing so. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, you know, if Brandy does desire to sing higher notes, I'm sure that somebody could coach her into being comfortable with that. But I don't think that she was saying that she can't. At least maybe I have to watch it back. I don't know if she was saying that she can't sing there or if she just doesn't want to. I don't remember now. But there is a difference. There is definitely a difference. Okay. Any other questions, y'all? Throw me some questions. How can I help? You can ask me any question in the realm of vocals, songwriting, and ear training. What are y'all's questions on this fine Monday? What's on y'all's minds? Have y'all been creative lately? What have y'all been making? Share some things with me. I mean, I know it's kind of hard to, or it could be a little hard, but have you written anything lately? Have you produced anything lately? What's been like your focus? If you've had a focus, like have y'all been focused on growing in any particular musical skill lately? Have you been learning new scales? Okay. Improving. Are you asking me how do I improve singing on key and singing in rhythm? Or are you telling me that that's what you're working on right now? Okay, you're asking me. Okay, yeah, sure. how to improve singing on key and how to improve singing in rhythm. Hey, let's go, Samia. You just released a song last week. Let's go. I'm so happy for you. I don't know you, but I'm proud of you because that's not easy to do. Congrats. Drop the title in the chat for me, so I would love to check it out. And tell me what genre you do. What's your genre? Okay, so Herbal Forte. How to improve singing on key and in rhythm. There are so many ways to improve singing on key. I would say, though, one great way to do it is to practice your scales. When you sing scales, it requires you to sing every note as faithfully as possible. Because if you don't sing the note faithfully, you're not singing the scale anymore, right? So for instance, sometimes, because I'm not perfect, I'm a human being. I am a human being. So sometimes, I'll be singing my major scale. I go, 1, 2, 3, right? And then my brain will sharp that fourth, right? And I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll be like, no, that's not major, that is linear. And I will tell myself, okay, what the scale is that I actually accidentally sung. But my point is, when you don't sing the notes of the scale in tune, the scale changes. So if your 3 is flat, if any of the notes are flat or sharp, you're technically not singing the scale anymore. So that's why I always recommend, if you'd like to improve your pitch, if you'd like to improve your ability to sing on key, practice your scales. Absolutely. Depending on how you practice your scales and who you practice your scales with, you'll also be internalizing that sense of key. If you sing your scale, you have to sing it in a particular key. Like you can't sing a scale without knowing what key you're in, right? So, yeah, that would be the way. That would be a way. There are many ways, but that would be a way that I would recommend, especially if you're starting out. I think you should start there. Let's see. If you'd like to learn scales with me, you absolutely can. I have this really, really, really big resource called the Ear Sharpener, and it teaches all that stuff that you just asked about, with the exception of rhythm. I'm gonna add rhythm, I think, probably this year. But it covers how to sing or how to hear keys and sing in key, how to sing intervals. It covers the major and the natural minor scale. It covers chords and harmony, so you can improve your harmonization. And also it covers a number system, so you can understand how chord progressions work. And there's a version of it called the Ear Sharpener Lite, where if you don't want to do all 5 of those things, you can just do one, right? So for instance, if I were to guide you toward the Ear Sharpener Lite, I would say, if you want to improve singing on key, you would either get hearing keys or you would get scales, or both. Okay, so check it out. It's in my link, in the link in my profile. Check it out. If you'd like a fun, clear way, a clear path forward to improving that skill. And then, how do I improve singing in rhythm? How do we improve singing in rhythm? Practice with a metronome. There it is. My mind had to buffer. But yes, practice with a metronome. When you sing, even when you're practicing singing without an instrumental, turn on the metronome. Get yourself a metronome app on your phone. Figure out the tempo that the song you're practicing is at. And there you go. Do not sing without a metronome. Do not practice without a metronome. I understand. Well, even if you're not, the resource that I was talking about, the Ear Sharpener, works for people at all levels. So, yeah. So then if you're drifting notes, probably, and I won't speak for you because I haven't heard you, but most of the time when folks can't, or when folks have trouble staying on their note, it's not just because you're a floater, right? You're not doomed to be a floater. But really what it is that you haven't trained your ear fully to recognize all different types of harmonies and what your context is in that sound. So that's why ear training is so important. That's why learning all types of chords, how they're built, all that sort of stuff is extremely important. So definitely dig into that information, I think, if you want to get better at holding on to your notes specifically. Okay, it's called Cautionary Tales. I make something between alternative R&B and ambient R&B. I love that. Okay, cool. Cool. All right. Thank you, Sonia. Like I said, I'm very proud of you. I know we don't know each other, but that's great. That is great. I'm glad that you released a song. And keep releasing, when it feels right. All right. Keep believing in your music and, push it. Push it. I know you're going to find a way. Okay, back to Instagram. How was your transition from classical to contemporary music, and where were you challenged vocally in doing so? I like that question, Afyang. So let's orient ourselves, I suppose, in Ashley Robin history, right? So I grew up singing contemporary music. I grew up singing gospel, R&B, and soul. I went through this phase in how old was I? I think I was in high school. I went through this phase in high school where I was just, I had like this chip on my shoulder. I was like, look, I don't listen to that garbage that y'all be listening to. I listen to real music. And all I listened to was soul from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. That's like all I listened to for like a good stretch of time in high school, right? So saying that to say, that's the music that I came up on. So that's gospel, soul, R&B. Pop as well. A little bit of rock. I had a rock phase. I had a Fallout Boy phase. Yes, I did. So I grew up singing all that. But I crossed over to classical when I got to high school, right? So high school, I went to a specialized high school in New York City called LaGuardia High School, class of 09. I went there for 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade. And that was where my classical education began. And so it's interesting because when I talk about singing classically in like that time, I don't fault anybody for it, but one of the things that's absolutely true is that when I crossed over to classical music, I lost my chest voice. Because when you're doing classical singing, you're doing arias and operas and all that sort of stuff, it's very like, okay, mix it. So I had a very strong mixed voice by the time I finished my music education. So by the time I got out of by the time I got my bachelor's degree, I had a very strong mixed voice. But it was annoying because it's like whenever I wanted grit in my voice, I couldn't access it. I didn't remember how because I didn't have anybody really showing me how to do that. And started to make my return to more contemporary singing in grad school because I went to grad school for jazz, and my teacher then, Sharon Wade, she kind of helped me start tapping into that part of my voice again. But I want to say it took me a while. It took me a while after I got out of college to really like get back to my chest voice. I had to figure it out. I'm like, what even is chest voice? What is chest voice? How does it work? Where does it come from? How do I do it? Because I had no idea how to do it, right? So, yes. Are you talking about me, Joshua? Yes, I am a soprano. Yes, I am. Proud soprano. But yeah, definitely. So between the transition between classical, from contemporary to classical to contemporary again, the biggest challenge was regaining my chest voice. Knowing what it is, knowing, how to sing with like presence, grit, like forward. I mean, they teach you forward placement because you have to. If you're doing an opera song, or I was gonna say an opera tune. If you're doing opera, or you're singing an aria, or you're singing an art song, that's the other word I was looking for. When you're singing that way, you have to put the voice forward. Like you have to, and you gotta shoot that voice out, because otherwise your voice is not gonna be heard unamplified. You know what I mean? But I lost my grit, and I had to find it. I had to get it back. But that was it. That would be my answer to that one. Okay, writing lyrics and trying to craft music from scratch is the hardest thing for me. Any tips? Yeah. I've got tips. Let's see, from scratch. Free writing. Free writing. Free writing is one of my favorite things to do when I'm feeling like I have no idea what I want to write about. I have no idea how to put this into words. I have no idea where to start. All right. So basically what you do in a free write is you set a timer, put a timer on for 5 minutes, and just write. Like, don't think about it. Don't edit what you're saying at all. Just write on the subject matter, right? Sometimes you can look around for a prompt, right? You can say, okay, I'm going to write, and this is like the easiest prompt. I'm going to write for 5 minutes about the object to my left or the object to my right, right? And you would be surprised at the stuff that comes out of that process. You would be so surprised. So I would recommend free writing, just writing more. And then once you do the free write, after that, you do something called gold mining. So after you've had that 5 minutes of writing time, then you go back, you look through what you wrote and see like, okay, what are some lines here that could be something? What are some ideas here that I would like to flesh out more? And then once you pull those ideas out, you could do another free write that helps you to flesh that out even more and more and more and more. You know what I mean? So I think that would be my tip. One tip for starting from scratch. Melody wise, or like rhythm wise, like execution wise, I would say like experiment with patterns that you've already heard or that already exist, like culturally relevant rhythms, right? So like maybe experiment with writing something that has the same rhythm as like Mary Had a Little Lamb or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or something like that. And I know it sounds kind of silly, even maybe a little elementary, but it definitely helps. And the more you do that, the more you do stuff like that. And even, popular songs. If there are songs that you really enjoy, the reason you really enjoy them is between the lyrics themselves, the way that the lyrics are said, and I would say the melody and the harmonic content. Those are the things that make us enjoy the music. It's the harmony, it's the melody and the intervals that are used, it's the rhythm of the words that are said, and then sometimes it's just the words that are said, right? So study songs that you really like and start to pull rhythms out, pull melodic figures out, pull things out of songs you already know and love. Everything, I know this is going to sound kind of crazy, but everything that we do is not totally original from the sky and from the heavens. You know what I mean? We are influenced by the things we've heard all of our lives. It's just the way that it is. And so as much as we want to be like, yeah, nobody else has ever come up with this idea, it's just not true. It's just not true. So don't be afraid to lean into those influences. Don't be afraid to be inspired by stuff that already exists and make derivatives and just see what happens. Just see what happens. Take the pressure off yourself. Take the pressure off yourself. I think that would be the biggest advice I would give. Take that pressure off yourself. Okay. All right. The questions are coming through. Hold on. Let me check. TikTok, y'all got any questions? Hey, Galia, how are you? Good to see you. I'm checking. All right, cool. Okay, cool. Nice. So no new questions yet, but I'm glad that what I'm saying is helpful. And then let me just check YouTube. Okay, no questions on YouTube. Yeah, all right, cool. So Instagram. Are there limits to chest voice? Yes, I would say so. There's a point at which I'm singing higher and higher. I would not like to pull my chest up too high. That's where you start to get that like really strained singing sound because you're trying to pull your chest up too high. What's my highest? Oh boy, it depends on whether I'm warmed up. Heavily depends on whether or not I'm warmed up. I think my highest note is right now. I think my highest note right now is like a A flat 5. I think A flat 5. Can I hit a C6? I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes when I'm hoarse, I can hit a C6 and higher, But yeah, my highest note is an B flat 5. I'll be a little more kind. I can hit a B flat 5. That's my highest note. Okay. Since you've built your chest voice up and already have a developed mixed voice, are you conscious of the limits of your registers? Okay, cool. So I'm guessing that was you clarifying your last question, Joshua. Yes, I feel conscious. I feel conscious of them. The great thing about mixed voice is that mixed voice covers a larger swath. I feel like head voice and chest voice are very specific. But yeah, it's like I know, I mean, in my opinion, when you start singing lower, 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 there's a point at which head voice just becomes mixed. If you do chest, if you learn how to transition from chest to mix, then there should be a point at which chest just becomes a really strong mix. But yeah, I feel like I know my limits in both directions. Should we respect the limits? Yes. Because if you don't respect the limits of your chest voice, you're going to hurt yourself. I mean, yeah. Oh, in head voice, yes, I can hit. So now, hold on. I have not warmed up. That's a very ashy C6. Very ashy C6. But yes. Oh, that was kind of a... That's head voice. Yeah. So there it is. There it is. Oh boy. Can I explain mixed voice? I can. So, and there are different ways of talking about this. Every voice teacher has their own thing where they explain in their different words. I don't think any of us are wrong, honestly. But essentially, mixed voice is a bridge between chest voice and head. A mixed voice is the part of your voice that helps you to transition like very smoothly from one part of your voice to the other. So if you don't have a strong mix, for instance, you're going to do a lot of flipping. You know, like, right? It's going to be uncontrollable flipping as you cross from one part of your range to the other. But if you have a nice, you know, strong mixed voice, that means that you can go all the way up and through without really any disruption, right? And that's why with, you know, opera and classical singing, that's what is emphasized, because you don't, you know, we don't yodel. You don't yodel in an art song, unfortunately. I think that would be actually pretty cool. But you tend not to do like the, you know, the pop flip in those situations. So they do want you to have a very, very smooth, like be able to just like go all the way up, go all the way down, in whatever part, between those two parts of your voice. So that, I think that would be like the quick and dirty definition of mixed voice, is that bridge between your chest voice and your head voice. What are the possible reasons for bad transitions? And so we're talking about bad transitions like flips and cracks and things like that. If so, I think that the most prevalent reasons for bad transitions are poor preparation and poor breath support, right? And this is me not only speaking from my own vocal students and just watching them, and then also my own experience, right? Anytime that my voice cracks or does anything strange when I'm going from one part of my voice to the other, it's usually because I didn't have my breath support with me. And that's the same thing I've found over and over and over and over and over again in the vocal students that I coach. If we're not prepared, if we haven't taken a good breath, and if our support system is not locked in place, that's begging. You're begging to crack. You're begging to crack. But then also it's hesitation. And this is all outside of understanding the technique, right? But I think hesitation also causes poor transitions if you're going from your chest to your mix. Sometimes a vowel. Sometimes it's the word. You have to practice saying the words or achieving the vowel shapes without any disruption in your voice. And sometimes that means you need to modify vowel. There's so many things. There's so many reasons. The shape of your mouth, how much it's open, you know, all those types of things really always play a part, or I should say they play a big role in whether or not your transitions are smooth, whether or not you're singing consistently. Yeah, I can feel when I flip, but I'm unsure when I'm in my mixed voice. Got you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's the thing about it, because when you're in your mixed voice, any flip is gonna, if it's there at all, it's gonna be very, like, it's gonna be smoothed out for the most part. So when you lean into that mixed voice, it smooths out the flip. But that's the thing, as contemporary singers, we need to be able to do both. So it's like you don't want to get such a good mix that you can't do a flip anymore, right? I mean, it depends, right? It depends on the type of singing you do, right? But I know in my kind of singing, you know, partly because I just enjoy it, and other partly because vocal flips are common in R&B and pop. I want to maintain my flip, so I practice doing both. I do exercises that require mixed voice, and I do exercises that require me to flip, so that I can like internalize the technique, because it's a technique. There is technique. You can flip your voice on purpose. Yes. Hey, Miss O'Lydian, who are you? Who are you? And why do you have such an amazing handle? Now you know I'm very excited. I have never met anyone with a modal handle. So welcome to the Robin's Nest. You are in the right place, because I love modes are my bread and butter. So I'm glad you're here, if you're even still here. Okay, check it for questions. I feel like you can go higher. I might. It depends. I need to warm up. Okay, for you, Joshua, mixed voice relies on nasal resonance. Okay, you feel a strong sensation in your mask when you mix. Yeah, I think that's par for the course. Absolutely. Especially if you're placing well, you're gonna feel, you know, your voice is gonna be in your face, you know. So that makes sense. That makes total sense. How is it already 12:50? Goodness gracious. The time does fly by. It doth fly. All right. Any other questions, y'all? If you're just joining me, you can ask me anything about vocals, songwriting, or ear training today. That is what today's Robin's Nest Live is all about. And just so you know, if you would like to participate in one of the Robin's Nest classes this week, I am doing Better Ear Boot Camp from Wednesday to Friday. If you've never been to Better Ear Boot Camp with me, it is a 3-day virtual session. It's free, and I will teach you how to find keys by ear, how to follow chord progressions using the number system, and finally how to approach harmonization. So if you would like to join me and learn those things and practice those things, I should say, then definitely join me at Better Ear Boot Camp. We are starting on Wednesday the 25th, and we go until Friday the 27th. There are 2 sessions. You can do the 1 p.m. or the 7 p.m. Eastern, depending on what your schedule is like. But yeah, definitely come join me. Even if you've taken boot camp before, it's a good time. So join me again if you'd like. If you want to join me, though, the links are in my description if you're watching me on YouTube, and the link is in my profile if you're watching me on Instagram or TikTok. All right. But that was a quick commercial break. Let me see if we got any other questions. Let's see. Thank you, Galia. I'm happy. I'm happy about that. You know, it's important to me to be helpful. So if I'm being helpful to you, even in these, you know, brief moments on live, that I'm very, very happy, and I have accomplished my goal. Thank y'all for the likes. Thank you for all the things. I always say this. The only thing that's regrettable about being on TikTok Live on my desktop and whatnot is I can't see the gifts. Like I can't see the heart thingies. I can't see anything. It's a lot more fun when you're on your phone, because then the stuff appears on your head, but whatever. Anyway, thank you all. Thank you all, thank you all, thank you all. But yeah, any other questions, y'all? Thank you, Afyong. Thank you, Afyong. By the way, I saw your email. I'm going to answer that email as soon as I get off live. Yes. All right, y'all. Y'all ain't got no more questions. No more questions for today. That's fine. That's totally fine. But yeah, it's been great hanging out with you all for the Robin's Nest Live. I'm going to be back on Wednesday. Wednesday is our ear training day. So if you'd like to come, join me, get some quick ear training in at about noon. Wednesday is the day to do that. And yeah, if you're new to my page, or you're new to my channel, as you look around and explore, you're going to notice that I'm actually very heavy on the ear training. Ear training is one of the favorite things that I teach, or one of my favorite things to teach, because it's so daggone important. Like it's so important. And I do think that sometimes it gets put on the back burner. Like we want to learn how to do really complex things with our voices, or even, we want to write better music. We want to write stuff that stands out. But it's like there's things that we don't realize are the key to making those kinds of things happen, right? If you're a big improviser and you like to do riffs and runs and all that sort of stuff, and you find yourself doing the same run over and over again, it's because you need ear training. And I say that in the gentlest, most loving way. We need ear training. Ear training is the stuff that expands our vocabulary for music. That's how we learn, new chords, new scales, like I said, new jumps and run patterns and all that sort of stuff. It comes from ear training. So I'm huge on ear training. If this is your first time tuning in with the Robin's Nest, just know that as you peruse my profile, you're going to see so much about ear training, because I think that it is so incredibly important. And so Wednesday, we get together and we do our ear training together. I don't know what we're going to do this Wednesday, though. Last week we did intervals. In fact, before I go, I'll let y'all choose. What ear trainingly do y'all want to do on Wednesday? Tell me in the chat. What do you want to practice? What do you want to practice on Wednesday for ear training? Let me know. Oh, by the way, there's so many ways to tap in with the Robin's Nest. I try not to overwhelm the lives with me just telling you about all the resources that are available. I try not to do that. But then at the same time, how are people going to know if I don't tell them? Right? So if you like the way that I teach, if you like to learn more and you like to learn with me in the ways that I teach, like I said, vocals, songwriting, ear training, you're very welcome to join the Robin's Nest. There, I have an app, so you can download the Robin's Nest app and be part of my community. If you download the app, you'll be automatically a member of the Treehouse. And from there, that is the best way to always be aware of what's going on in the Robin's Nest. You can also post, ask me questions, do all sorts of stuff. I do a monthly giveaway. All this stuff is happening inside of the Robin's Nest app. So feel free. You can download the Robin's Nest app from the link in my profile and the link in my description. And yeah, make sure that you use that link because that's going to allow you to create your account, and then you'll be able to log in and like enjoy. So yeah, there's the Robin's Nest app. Let's see. There is the Robin's Nest workshop series. This past Saturday, we had so much fun. So many great conversations that are going to lead to a higher level of musicianship for everybody involved, even me. As I teach, I get better as well. It's really, really cool. And so this past Saturday, we talked about how to sing intentionally. We had a whole conversation about it, what to do, what to look for, what to practice within our own artistry to make us more intentional singers. Then at songwriting workshop, we talked about melody hacks and things that we can do to write better melodies. Like say we're stuck with a melody we're writing. I gave some tools and just some things that we want to look for when we go to write our melodies. And then we did ear training. An ear training workshop. We did rhythms and time signatures. It was so much fun. We did rhythms and time signatures. So we studied different feels in music. So if you would like to join me for more topics just like that, I teach those 3 classes once a month, every single month. And those who are subscribed to the Nest, they get to come to those classes. They get to hang out with me on Zoom. I take their questions and we dig into the information in a way that is very practical and people can walk away with it. So I would love for you to be a member of the Nest. There are so many benefits aside from the classes. You get unlimited replays of all the classes if you're on Nest Deluxe tier or higher. Basic Access does not get any replays, by the way. They just are able to tune in live and that's all. But if you like infinite replays, if you want to do a monthly check-in with me one-to-one, if you want to be in the community, you want to be in the running for prizes and things like that from the monthly giveaway, all that sort of stuff. So much is going on inside of the Nest. In fact, we have our next open mic. We did an open mic in January and we did it for everybody and we invited everybody in, but the next open mic is only going to be for the Nest. It's only internal. So if you'd like to get some performance practice in, I'd like to get some feedback about your performances, then definitely you want to subscribe to the Robin's Nest workshop series, because those are the people who are going to be at the next open mic at the end of March. Yeah. So that's 2 ways. You can download the Robin's Nest app. You can become a Robin's Nest subscriber for real. Because, this live stuff, it's cool, but it's not the real deal. It's not the real deal. So yeah, you could become a subscriber for real. You could tap in with the Ear Sharpener or the Ear Sharpener Lite. You could tap in with Mode's Workshop. I've got another collection of exercises called Scale Benders. There's so many things. You could come to boot camp this Wednesday and hang out with me for 3 days and improve your ear. So there's so many ways to tap in with the Robin's Nest. You could do private coaching if you'd like me to coach you one-on-one. Vocal, songwriting, ear training, or music production. If you'd like me to coach you one-on-one, you can check out the link in my description or in my profile on Instagram or TikTok. So it's up to you. So many ways to jump in and tap in with the Robin's Nest. So I think we had a good time. We had some good talks today. And so I'm going to skedaddle, but I hope that I'll see you all again. Remember, Wednesday is our ear training day. So until then, this has been the Robin's Nest Live. I have been Ashley Robin, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye, everybody.